Hi, this is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I promised to one of the viewers that I would take a look at this, so here we are, the Crisis on Infinite Earths. This was the 50th anniversary of DC Comics, so they wanted to celebrate with a bang. And how much more of a bang could you get than destroying the universe? So this is Marv Wolfman, George Perez, and Dick Giordano. Marv Wolfman and George Perez, you may or may not know, were the creators of the legendary, phenomenal New Teen Titans comic books. And this was a spectacle. This was amazing. Like I've said in a few videos, it succeeded in its purpose of attracting new readers. It failed in its mission to simplify and codify the DC universe. It failed miserably in that regard, but it's still a remarkable achievement. So let's just look at the characters. The premise is, well, should I go with the premise? All right, let's just look at the characters. So this is the original Superman. This is the he's got the gray hair. So this is Superman that came out in 1938 or 39, and then could only jump an eighth of a mile, and then became super godlike. So he's like just one of the most powerful superheroes in all of existence. This is the Blue Beetle. I showcased the Blue Beetle comic the other day. I just love that costume. What just an amazing costume. I love, that's Ted Kord the Beetle. I love Ted Kord. And this is Dawn Star. And she's from the Legion of Superheroes, so she's from 1,000 years in the future, and everybody gets here because time means nothing here. This is Arion, Sorcerer of Atlantis, so he was from the past. Firestorm, this is another great series. I gotta get some Firestorm comics and showcase this. This is a comic that will really surprise you. It starts out, first off, some wonderful artwork by Pat Broderick, who I showcased in one of my early videos, Marvel Spotlight, Captain Marvel. Phenomenal artist. And then later on, the art change, the direction changes. Sometimes they kind of lost their purpose with the character, and then they refocused in other directions. Just a great comic. I have such fond memories of that comic. Here we have Victor Stone, Cyborg. And we all know him. I showcased the Teen Titans the other day. I love everybody in the Teen Titans. Oh, and who's that? That's Pariah. That's the original creation of Marv Wolfman and George Perez specifically for this comic. And I'll talk about him later. You could see I've said over and over again that George Perez and John Byrne are arguably the two greatest superhero comic book artists of all time. And ask me on any given day, and I'll tell you one, and the next day I'll tell you the other, and go back and forth without fear of being called a hypocrite or anything, because that's just how close they are. But George Perez's original designs, I mean, this is a George Perez original design, and it worked. This is a George Perez original design, and it looks more like a fantasy, like he should be from Dungeons & Dragons universe, not a superhero universe. Okay, here's the back cover. It's an amazing wraparound cover. You can see the after image of the Anti-Monitor. And this is Harbinger. That's another George Perez design. Yeah, it's okay. That's Superwoman. That's the evil Wonder Woman from I think it's Earth 3, where instead of the Justice League, they have the Crime Syndicate, where all the superheroes are evil. This is Obsidian. I love this character. He was the child of Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern. Is his sister over? He has a twin sister named Jade. So Jade and Obsidian. She's green and he's black. She has the light Green Lantern powers, and he has like darkness powers. So he could like turn into a shadow. He was surprised. He got shot with a bullet like 15 issues in, and he was surprised to learn he's bulletproof. I thought that was so realistic. He flinched and he got scared. And he's like, oh, I'm invulnerable. Like that's the kind of power you wouldn't know you have until it's almost too late, right? I can't tell who that is. Oh, I think that's Dr. Polaris, a magnetic villain. This is Geoforce. He's like the king of an imaginary comic book country, and they inherit this through their bloodline this power to control Earth. He's like super powerful, and I don't know what they're doing with him, but he was in the Outsiders, Batman in the Outsiders for a while. His sister was Terra, who later joins the Teen Titans. This is Platinum, one of the Metal Men. She's a artificial intelligence robot created by Will Magnus. Metal Men was a goofy concept, but it became pretty damn cool. This is Ultraman. That's the Superman of the crime syndicate. That's either Batman or Owlman. I can't tell from the back. If it's Owlman, then it's the evil Batman from the crime syndicate. If it's Batman, then it's Batman. And that's Johnny Quick, the evil Flash from the crime syndicate. I think that's Gorilla Grodd, the evil gorilla villain who from Gorilla City who fights the Flash. That's John Stewart, Green Lantern. This is Lex Luthor, the hero Lex Luthor from Earth 3 who fights the crime syndicate. So this is a good, everything's reversed. And this is the Psycho Pirate. I think he was a Wonder Woman villain who became a major character in the and they did a pretty cool job. And this is Firebrand. She's she joined the all why can't I remember the name, the Justice Society, and she was a World War II villain, hero, and she has flame powers. And this is Simon, one of the Brotherhood of Evil, and he's just a vastly psionic, evil, powerful being. A surprisingly good George Perez creation, good design. So let's take a look at the inside. So issue 1, 75 cents. I just noticed there's no Comics Code Authority because this comic went directly to the direct market. So here's Marv Wolfman, like an editorial of the purpose of the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it basically boils down to we're streamlining the DC universe to make it easier for newbies, which it fails miserably. So here, in the beginning, there was one Earth. There's supposed to be, but then a multiverse was born by accident. So all these Earths. So, anybody who watches Marvel movies now is just completely comfortable with the concept of multiple dimensions and parallel Earths. If you watch Star Trek and Deep Space Nine and all that stuff, all science fiction, we're all used to it. So I don't know why back in '85 they considered it something that was too difficult. So here is Pariah. He shows up, and this wave of antimatter just comes and destroys their universes. And he's like, come, let me help you. And then when the antimatter hits him, he disappears. So he's cursed with showing up and watching the Earths die. And then when the Earth dies, he goes to the next Earth. And his whole existence is just watching these Earths get destroyed. So he's just like, constantly suffering. So here we have the crime syndicate trying to contain the damage caused. They may be bad guys, but if the Earth gets destroyed, then where are they going to live? So here's Ultraman. That's Power Ring. That's the evil version of Green Lantern. The crime. So here they are, dealing with mass destruction. Owlman in that hokey costume. Johnny Quick. Even Lex Luthor. With all my powers, I can't help anybody. I'm useless. Superwoman, one of the crimes, she's trying to help, and Superwoman just gets hit by the antimatter wave. And this was shocking back then because these were long-time comic book characters that are getting killed. So here's Alexander Luthor, as he called himself. That's his wife, Lois Lane. And there's their baby. And what are they going to do? You'll see. And here, Johnny Quick gets hit by it. Johnny Quick, and the Green Lantern. So he's vaporized. Power. They're just watching everything, and he's explaining. The mind, not the head. Which slays the world. I do nothing. So they're blaming him. They're like, this is a guy that's destroying everything. He's like, no. I'm the Pariah. I'm just here to witness it. So here's Lex Luthor and Lois Lane putting their baby into a pod and jettisoning him. Sound familiar? So he's like, there's nothing we could do. He goes, all my life I fight to the end, and Ultraman just flies into the antimatter, and he's eradicated. So Lex Luthor and Lois Lane, they put their kid in some sort of cosmic centrifuge, and they send the kid into another dimension to live. Ta-da! And I think he lands on the Monitor satellite. Now the Monitor. So this is the Monitor satellite. Who is the Monitor? Well, the Monitor was created by Marv Wolfman and George Perez for the purpose of this comic. And it was pretty interesting because it's never been done before, but the Monitor has been popping up in DC Comics for the past year, previous to this comic, and hinting at stuff, and they made him look like a supervillain, like to some people he was selling weapons to, and other people he was giving information. So he was like this mysterious figure in the background of all the comics. And then he showed up here, and Harbinger was his herald that would go in and gather information. So what he was really doing was gathering information, finding out which heroes would be perfect to help him fight the Anti-Monitor. The Anti-Monitor was creating this wave of antimatter that was destroying universes, and the Monitor was the guy that was fighting to save it. So look at all this cosmic stuff. She's transforming into Harbinger, and because of the Monitor's magic science, that's what I'm going to call it, magic science, she's irradiated and then split into like infinite forms, and so she's like sends out infinite avatars to monitor all the different variations of the Earth. And the Monitor's here in this satellite, which is outside of time and space, gathering information through Lita, through Harbinger and Gorilla Grodd, and all these people. Here comes Harbinger to talk to Gorilla Grodd. So she collects him, and of course his subjects are trying to defend. So she goes, another version goes to the future, to the Legion of Superheroes, grabs Dawnstar. So she's assembling a team, and she grabs Dawnstar. And at this point, we don't know, are they good guys, are they bad guys? So that I already spoiled it by telling you that she's team. But he's grabbing good guys and bad guys. So here's Danielle Riley, I think her name is. And Danielle Riley, she lights because she's got the firepower. And here comes Harbinger. Nobody else notices her. She activates her costume, and she's like, "What's going on? I touch my finger. Pull my finger. Pull my finger." And she passes gas and infinite. That would be an interesting comic. Crisis of Infinite Farts. So she goes off and to the satellite, and here comes Ted Kord, Blue Beetle. What a great costume. This is what a great costume will work wonders. When I first saw Captain Marvel, Shazam with that lightning bolt, I was like, he's my favorite superhero. I knew nothing about him other than a cool costume. And then I told you, I almost dropped the phone. Then I told you I was at that pool party when I was a little kid, when my friend's mother made me read the comic book to prove to her that I understood what was going on before she let me keep it. It was an old Charlton comic with Blue Beetle, and I just fell in love with that costume. It's just so freaking cool. And here he is jumping around, kicking, punching, and he's a good guy. He kicked the guy off the building and he saves him. And here comes Harbinger. He's like, "What's going on?" And she grabs Blue Beetle. Who's she grabbing here? Oh yeah, these shadow beings are flying around, and one of the shadow beings hits one of the avatars of Harbinger. Now look, evil eyes. So now she goes, well, what's this guy's name? Hayden something. Emotions hurt me. He's in an insane asylum. So she pulls out his Medusa mask. You'll need it. Puts it on, and he's the Psycho Pirate. Silly name, but I just thought he was a cool character. So now one of her avatars goes into the past and gets Arion, the sorcerer from Atlantis, the lord of it. So he's creating a ice mage. Iron Comics was surprisingly good. I got these, and he, of course, everybody mistake superhero trope. Two good guys meet for the first time. They miss one of them thinks they're the bad guy, and they fight. So she rescues Arion and brings me. And this is Firestorm. Firestorm's power is he's the nuclear man. He gained his power in a nuclear accident. So he's Roy Raymond and Martin Stern. There's two people. So Roy Raymond is the Peter Parker, goofy teenager. He doesn't apply himself. He's pretty good with sports, unlike the other teenage superheroes, and he actually misses like key football games because he's off doing superhero stuff. So he's kind of the opposite of the nerd. And Martin Stern was his physics professor who was tutoring him because he was a jock and not a good student. And I forget what happened. They got caught in some experiment and they fused. And when they fused, like, fusion, they get these nuclear powers. So Ray, I forget his name, Ray, is in charge of the body, and Martin Stern is in charge of the mind. And he could control molecules. So he could, he could fly, shoot nuclear blasts, super strong, and control molecules. He's really one of the most powerful beings on the planet. And this is his bad guy, Killer Frost. So that wasn't Platinum on the cover. That was Killer Frost. And Killer Frost is actually a pretty scary supervillain. She is, pardon the pun, but no other way to describe it, a stone-cold killer. She'll just freeze people and kill them with no remorse. Something like you don't, it was surprising back in the 80s to just see her just murdering people. She would turn them into ice and then just shatter them. And so here he is. He's not, when you control, he became super powerful. And remember I talked about Swamp Thing was the avatar of the green, and then Animal Man was the avatar of the red. He became like the avatar of energy or something like that. And I told you, no good idea in comic books could just be left alone. They have to kind of build on it. But I'll buy, there's matter and there's energy avatars, stuff like that. So he became like one of these elementals, of super powerful beings. See, the Psycho Pirate, he has the power to control emotions. So he's making Killer Frost fall in love with Firestorm so that they could work together, because she will just murder you. She's just like worse than Dexter. She just has no emotions. She'll just kill. So they all assemble here on the monitor satellite. So his other people, other people that you didn't see them gather, but this story, like Geoforce, Cyborg, the original Superman, Obsidian, Todd Rice, that's his name. What a horrible name, Todd Rice, Obsidian. So, and his sister, I forget his name, but he's like an introvert. His sister's the extrovert, and they were twins from Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern, and I can't remember the name, but the original Harley Quinn. And they were from the 40s and 50s. They had a kid, and a little bit of interesting meta history is in Infinity. He debuted in Infinity Incorporated, him and Jade, and they never really were given any story. They were just Obsidian and Jade, children of the Green Lantern, and they had such a big cast that he was kind of overlooked. Then there was a comic book called Manhunter about a woman superhero. She's like that's a whole nother thing I won't get into. And he was a secondary character. Jade became a secondary character in the Green Lantern comics. He became a secondary supporting character in Manhunter. And he just showed up at a party with a boyfriend. So here we go. He was one of DC's first, if not the first, openly gay character. And nobody complained. It was just because there was nothing about him. He was a blank slate, and they just built on him, and people accepted it. Now here's the funny thing: in the New 52, they rebooted DC, and they brought back Alan Scott, and they made Alan Scott gay, his father. So they literally got rid of the first well-known, beloved, respected gay character in DC history, and just changed another character gay, and then people complaining and calling them names. Oh, you just don't like it. But no, you got rid of a beloved character to shoehorn another character when just bring back Obsidian. He was a cool character. Look at this cool costume, you know. But what do I know? I'm just a lunatic. So here they all together. Of course, they don't like each other because Dr. Polaris. He's got magnetic powers, so he's the Magneto of the DC universe. And they're like, that's Dr. Polaris over there, and you know, what's going on? That's Killer Frost, you know. And here's this being in the shadows, and these shadow beings all attack. So they're all fighting. You know, look. Todd Rice, living shadows like myself. Can I fight them? Could they destroy me? Blue Beetle jumping around. Yeah, we got to recruit this guy who's basically an acrobat when you got Superman. But what do I know? But he's also a genius. So they're all fighting and fight. And now there's the big reveal, the Monitor. You could see the similar designs in all of George Perez's designs. So he's explaining, I have so many here because your universe is about to die. And here's the second page of Marv Wolfman. Yeah, I didn't go through all the details because all the details don't matter. But I'm going to do all 12 issues of the Crisis on Infinite Earth, but I'm not going to go through them. I'm just going to show you the covers and give you a little bit of detail because I'm already up to 20 minutes. So I'll do it quick. But here's issue 2. You know, that's Command D, Jack Kirby creation. Here's issue 3. A little bit of glare. You know, things are getting a little bit more real. You know, the crisis is happening like throughout all of time, all at once. It's happening in the future. It's happening in the present. It's happening in the past. So there's the past. You know, the Monitor gets killed in issue 4. So now they're on their own. They got to deal with the Anti-Monitor. Issue 5. What's happening now is the Monitor, I think, used his power to save. So all that's left is Earth 1 and Earth 2. And then there's a couple of beings from other Earths that managed to make it to Earth, you know, and they're staying here. So the antimatter wave is held at bay temporarily while they're coming up with a solution. But we have Earth 1 and Earth 2, and they're merging, so they're causing problems. Is the Anti-Monitor just horrific? Look at that. That is so freaking cool. And then here, this is the death of Kara Zor-El. This is the original Supergirl. She died beating the crap out of the Anti-Monitor. It was shocking because this is Supergirl. Supergirl is dead. The first version of Supergirl from 19 whatever, the 40s, 50s, up until 1986. This character is no more. Killed. This was a big deal. And then the very next issue, Barry Allen, the Flash, is killed. I love this. He runs so fast trying to defeat all of the machinations of the Anti-Monitor that he transforms into energy, turns into a lightning bolt, and then goes back in time and hits young Barry Allen and turns him into the Flash. So he becomes this whole, what's it called, Ouroboros, you know, this complete closed circle, this paradox loop. I thought that was brilliant. I love stuff like that. And here we are, issue 9. The villains realize, okay, we can't be villains anymore. We actually have to team up. And I love that. That's such a DC thing, to get a villain a situation so bad that the villains have no choice but to team up with the superheroes. So we got Sinestro, we got Cobra, Lex Luthor, the Joker, Mirror Master, Captain Cold, Eclipso. I never liked Eclipso. The Jester, Black Adam, the Penguin. You need the Penguin. You need a fat goof with an umbrella to help. Could have just left him home. Vladidus, Dr. Savannah, Gorilla Grodd, Deathstroke the Terminator, just Dr. Time, just per Degaton. So, time-traveling Nazi. I got to put some of these back. I'll put that over there. There we go. Sorry about that. So here we have the Spectre versus the Anti-Monitor, Death at the Dawn of Time. And I remember the Spectre was cop Jim Corrigan, who was killed in the line of duty, and when he went to heaven, then he went to heaven, and he was sent back as the avenging angel, like basically like the right hand of God. So he started out just like with like ghost powers. He could, pass through walls and possess people, and I think he could turn solid and do some fist fighting. And by this point, he was like the next most powerful being in all of creation. He was basically God's avatar on Earth. So this was a classic battle. I'm already up to 25 minutes. I'm not gonna. And here we have issue 11. That's the original Flash, Jay Garrick with Wally West from the Teen Titans. They have the Cosmic Treadmill, and they're just like, and Superman, because they're all just running to power create energy so they could save the last two Earths. And here's the original Wonder Woman meeting the new Wonder Woman, and that's Hippolyta. That's Fury. That's the daughter of the original Wonder Woman. This character got devastated by the crisis on it. Her name is Hippolyta Hall. She never recovered from it, so they just kind of memory hold her. She had a fitting end in Sandman, and her character is going to be in the new Sandman movie. Just notice that she's tall, blonde, and blue-eyed, and notice who plays Lita Hall in the Sandman movie. We'll leave it at that. And then this is the last issue of Crisis in Infinite Earths. Everybody thought everything was saved, and then, of course, just like Jason popping out of the lake at the last, the Anti-Monitor comes back for one last gasp, and all the superheroes go to fight him. As Captain Marvel. He looks amazing when drawn by George Perez. Aquaman, the original Wonder Woman. Superman, I don't know. Oh, there's the original Superman. You can see the S's are slightly different. There's Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern. John Johns, the Martian Manhunter. Black Orchid. This is Lady Quark. She was made up in this series. She survived her universe's destruction. So she was the sole survivor of her universe's destruction. So there was a few. Power Girl over here. Lita. Hawkman. That's Captain Atom. And that's Firestorm. That's probably Superboy. Black Lightning. They're all there. And I'm sure there's... Oh, I thought there's... On the back. And... I guess I'll spoil it. But I was going to go through this whole comic, but it doesn't matter. So what happens is that Luthor baby... Such a trope. That Lex Luthor and his wife Lois Lane sent... He grows up fast. That's such a trope. And he harnesses the energy and battles the antimatter and stabilizes the inverse neutron flow of everything and stabilizes the universe so that the Earth can exist. And here's the original Superman. He's just pissed. He just has enough, and he just unleashes on everything. And everybody's like, "Oh my God!" And so the universe is stabilized through magic science. Everybody's rectifying everything. And what happens is they went back to the creation of time and fixed that accident that split the universe. So now history is rewritten. So all of these guys, they use that cosmic treadmill. They go back in time using the energy of Lex Luthor. He preserves everybody inside his energy matrix of his body, magic science. And they fix the universe at the point of creation so that none of this stuff ever happened. But now we have paradoxically all these people who were there who shouldn't exist, like the original Superman, the original Superboy, this Lex Luthor from a universe that doesn't exist, this Lois Lane from a universe that doesn't exist, and the original Wonder Woman from a universe that doesn't exist. So what happens is Lex Luthor, the child, Alex Luthor, he uses his energy and he creates like this extra dimensional heaven where they could all go and live. So, and then of course and nobody remembers this except for those people that I just mentioned, those heroes that I just mentioned, and the Psycho Pirate. He is the only person who knew that the Crisis on Infinite Earth actually happened because of this paradoxical time loop. The Earth was the universe was shattered into fragments, and then they went back into time and made it so that it never happened. So this whole period of 50 years of history that we know as the DC universe never happened, and went off. And a lot of old-time fans were pissed, and I can't say I blame them. I wasn't that pissed because this was my introduction into DC. Of course, I had DC Comics at the time, but I wouldn't consider myself a collector of DC. But this comic got me to read DC, and to be honest, this is because they were making DC more like Marvel, and Marvel was at the top of its game at the time, so why wouldn't you? So, like I said, it succeeded in that. It boosted a lot of people who were just Marvel zombies into getting DC comics, me one of them. And I went back and bought a bunch of collections from people for and filled in holes, notably my Legion of Superheroes and Detective Comics and stuff like that. And I went from thinking Batman was a goof to being a big Batman fan, and so in that way it succeeded. But like Infinity Incorporated was canceled because of this comic just destroyed Infinity Incorporated, and they're still dealing with ramifications. And to the point, I think DC now is like back to multiple Earths. So, I mean, for those of you who are just getting into comics now, is the concept of parallel Earths like that difficult to understand? I don't think so. I think we can handle it. So this ultimately was a spectacular at the time. It was phenomenal. It was a work of art. It was, I mean, it's just gorgeous to look at. It was really creative. It was very dramatic. Shocks, everything superhero comics is supposed to be, but ultimately, it was unnecessary. That's the nicest way I could say it. So that's the Crisis on Infinite Earths. I would read it. It's worth reading. It's a lot of fun. I think you can get all 12 issues in one trade paperback. It is fun, and it will introduce you to and get you to understand a lot of DC history. It is, I think, essential comic book reading. It is really good for So there you go. It's a paradox in itself. The comic book deals with time paradoxes, and the comic book itself is a paradox. It wove itself out of existence. There you go. Didn't mean to be poetic, but that I am. So there you go. That's Crisis on Infinite Earths. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.